Fragments of Silicon at this time of day, localized entirely within this Switch channel? May I see it?
All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Daylight interviews. First one of these of the season and the year. And joining us this time is Jean-Gobert, the coaster of Funtomata.
Hello, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well. Right, so how we like to get started here is we like to get to know the person behind the games, the studio, and all of that assorted business. And we do this by asking this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
Oh my goodness. Childhood. It started there anyways. I got a Commodore 64 when I was pretty young, around like 8 years old, something like that. And ever since my gaming life began, and I got myself interested in making games. I mean, we all dream at some point of making games. I think any gamer at some point contemplates that idea. I made a few games myself, like in basic, very, very, very simple things. But then life happened. I did computer science studies, but I didn't end up working right away in making games. I did more like software engineering, those kinds of things. Then yeah, life went on. I decided to embrace a new career of acting, and so I became an actor. And when you are an actor, you have a lot of time on your hands as well, to do other creative stuff, and that's where I kind of started making some flash games on the side. And one thing leading to another, it took a bigger part in my life. And in 2020, I got the chance to join a program to kind of get your first like commercial game project started. And then I thought, okay, well, I am a programmer, but I'm not an artist, so I need to find some people to work together with and put together a team. And since I have two daughters at the time, they were 4 and 6 years old. I wanted to find games that I could play with them, that were both fun for them to play, that were not too difficult for them to play, but that were also enjoyable for me to play with them, so that we actually all get to enjoy the activity. And I could not find anything, so I thought, that's if I want to do something in gaming, if I want to make games, I want to make games that fill that gap. And that's how the whole idea of creating games for children, but with a very an ambition of making high quality games for children that please the parents as well. And even if the parents are not gamers, that they can enjoy it with them, so that it becomes an activity the way it was when I was little, family entertainment. And I think that's a little bit gone. And yeah, that's how the Asphalia series came to be. And here we are today. We've released two games, Asphalia, The Cranky Volcano, and Asphalia, Panic at the Mansion. We've also released a physical card game about emotions to help parents discuss emotions with their children. And we've made a little web game that is not released yet, that's called Rocket Sofa, which is in the same universe, but it's very different, very casual kind of game, a vertical launcher, just to, have some fun while you're on the toilet.
Okay, so that's quite the journey. And I suppose the thing to ask first is, why the PC as opposed to mobile devices? Because like the kids today, they are often on their phones and tablets and such,
Yeah.
and like a lot of educational edutainment, whatever you want to call it these days, tends to aim for those platforms instead of PC Steam.
Yeah. So there's several reasons why we started there. The first was that I wanted to see, I wanted to have an easy way to kind of test the waters to see if children enjoy the game, and without having to go with a mobile model. Because one of the issues with mobile is, yes, that's where the children play, but it's all free to play, and it's really difficult to get a game to on mobile that is not free to play, especially for children. And so that was the one thing I was kind of worried about, because I really wanted to make a point and click adventure story driven game. So it has a different type of replayability that you typically have on mobile games. It's children do replay it a lot, just like they would watch Frozen again. Like it's more of a Disney kind of experience, So you just replay the experience. You know what's going to happen, but you just like it, and you want to relive those moments. But that's not a model that works with a free to play setting. And so I wanted to see if we could get it to work on Steam, because one of the reasons was I could not find any games either on Steam or on PS4 that were meeting the things I was looking for. But from the ground up, we did build the game in a way that, I'm sorry, my daughter is screaming in the in the hallway here. Just give me a second. I'm going to tell her to be a bit more calm. I'll be back.
Fine. This might be a new one. Surprisingly, I don't think we've had an interview interrupted by children. At least not in a long while.
Yeah, I think it's probably happened before, but it has been a while.
No.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's fine.
Had to do some parenting stuff. We did build a game immediately with the idea that we want it to be portable to mobile. So it had to work on the basis of this needs to be as playable on touch as it would be with a mouse. So, for example, something that people tend to say in reviews is, it would be nice if you had some contextual mouse cursor that would indicate that there's an interaction here or there. And we didn't want to do that, because if the game worked with that, if the game needed that to work, then it wouldn't work on mobile, because you don't have that kind of feedback on mobile. And so you'd have to put something else instead that draws the attention of the player to the things that they can interact with. So it is very mobile friendly in terms of the way it's designed. It's just the business model that is difficult in there. And we did actually put the first episode on Google Play. And it was very, very difficult. I tried to, when we released it on Google Play, like I did lots of advertising. And it was a complete waste. So it's still there. We kind of try and play with the price, but it's not doing well. So, but I still have some ideas and some things I want to try on to get it to mobile, but that's still some work in progress on my side.
Like, I suppose the obvious question there is, have you looked into iOS in any capacity?
Yeah. I actually I'm a Mac gamer, so I'm a weirdo, but yeah, I'm at 2%.
Or there's also
But
the Amazon store, because a lot of kids have been getting Fire tablets, and that's a separate ecosystem that isn't just Google Play.
actually, I've not considered that. I've tried to get in touch with Netflix, but that's a very difficult thing.
Hmm.
Uh, but I did not think about Amazon. I know no one who uses that, but it's an interesting suggestion.
Well, and because like
Um,
a lot of times, especially during the holidays, a lot of the Amazon Fire tablets go on sale really cheap, and they have kids versions. So one would venture to guess they at least have some sort of, kid section of their app store that would make it enough to want parents to buy that kind of device.
yeah, that could be that could be something. I need to look into it. I need to also see the specs of the device.
Yeah. They're a fairly low
Because
end. They run
yeah,
Android, but they run a special version of it that only connects to Amazon services.
yeah,
So it's about
yeah,
a mid-range 2018 tablet.
yeah. How much RAM does it have? Do you know?
I can do some research while you guys do that, and I will let you know.
Yeah, we did a port to Switch, so we had to do a bit of optimization for the porting because right off the bat it would not meet the specs requirement to work on Switch, and now it does. So if you have four megs of RAM, it's gonna work. But if it's less, it's gonna be very difficult because as you can see, we have actually very big textures in the game, hand drawn, and so that takes up a lot of space in memory, and the performance on low end devices might be a little bit tricky, but that's still something that I'd have to test and probably get my own
The
Amazon Fire tablet.
regular non-pro model has 3 gigabytes of RAM.
Three, yeah. Oh, I said megabytes. Yeah,
Yeah.
gigabytes. 3 gigabytes. Oh, interesting.
Let me see what
I'd
the
I'd have to
kids
test it.
Pro tablet has, because it was sitting right next to each other.
Mm.
Because that might be more what you're looking for.
Yeah, there's other avenues that we've thought about as well. One which was, hey, could we make it a web game, for example?
Yeah.
But it's we'd have to re we'd have to rework a lot of the ways the game is put together in order to be able to prevent having to load a huge game right off the bat, because the initial load time, especially for web games, is extremely important. And yeah, right now the game is the second game, Panic at the Mansion, is 4 gigabytes on PC. So I guess it's probably if we make like a web build, you can kind of divide that by maybe five, but that's going to be too much still for loading. So
Right.
yeah, there's
The
technical things.
higher end kids tablets that Amazons have do have an option for 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Interesting.
So that might be something to think about. But yeah, I was helpful.
No, it's always not. I mean, it's always interesting to discuss those things with people you meet because like everyone has some ideas that you might not have had, and it's always good to listen to them. And
Mhm.
of course, part of the job is also to kind of make a decision whether it is a good idea or not. But
Mhm.
like, I never discard any ideas that people give me right away. I just take it with a grain of salt because there's always the technical aspects of things
Right.
like, okay, how do you build on Amazon? Can we easily build on Amazon with Unity? Is there an SDK that we have to include?
Mhm.
Those kinds of things, of course.
Right. All right. Sorry for the derailment, Adam.
It's fine. It's fine. Um, And I suppose circling back to like the original version, I suppose the game has found a modicum of success on Steam and or the Nintendo Switch.
Uh, existence it has found. Success
Uh,
is yeah, it's another story. Unfortunately, it is very difficult. We are really in a niche that is not a Steam niche. There's not many children that play on Steam,
Right.
even on the Steam Deck, because we thought, okay, we're gonna do everything we can to make it Steam Deck ready. It plays on the Steam Deck well. You can play it like we've tested it. It works fine, but yeah, we're not at the stage yet where parents give a Steam Deck to their children and look for games for children to put
Right.
on the Steam Deck. That's why we want it to be on the Nintendo Switch, and we released there both games in October 2025. Unfortunately, it didn't find any success there. So, as it stands today, I've had to actually restructure the studio and let go of all my employees. So now I'm on my own again. I used to be a team of five, but yeah, we're not making enough money to be able to sustain a team, unfortunately.
unfortunate, but I can't say I'm too surprised because, well, as previously mentioned, like this particular niche hasn't really been in vogue since the 90s, maybe the early 2000s.
Also, just generally hard to get your stuff seen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. There's so many layers to why it's not successful, and I mean, I was hoping to make something new and different, and that would be enough, to kind of get some eyes on there. But it's really hard. It's a homegrown IP. It's not Peppa Pig in Emotion Land. It's not Paw Patrol. It's Asphalia. It's our own universe. But yeah, the one thing I know is that the game is good. Children love it. Children play it again, and that's I know that we've done the right we've done a good game, but we unfortunately didn't manage to find the right angle to get it to our audience, and yeah.
well, I suppose a question I do have is that's the wider world, but do you think you accomplished your initial goal, i.e., do your daughters like these games?
Oh yes, yes, they love it. Uh, and of course they've played them out like so they don't get back to them, though when we released them on the Switch, of course they played through the games once again on Switch. But like, for example, for my daughter's birthday, I would include in the my daughter's friend's birthday. I mean, when they go to a friend's, I would include in the package of, hey, I got a birthday present and you got a key for Asphalia, and then they'd come to me and say, hey, when is the next game? And the parents then come to me and say, my daughter keeps asking me when is the next day when the next game comes out. Tell me, please. Say, yeah, it's gonna be another 2 year. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, making games is 9 times out of 10 laborious. It's like
it
unless
is.
you're doing something very game jammy, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. And initially, I thought I thought very naively, like, okay, I'm not going to make a game with a lot of scope. So I thought point and click is relatively simple in terms of game mechanics, in terms of implementation. There's not that many things going on. So I should be able to make a point and click game in about 3 months. That was the initial goal
Oh,
when we
you
did the
sweet
coaching
summer
program.
child.
Yes, 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 yes. And so, yeah, as it turns out, it is not that easy. And it took me 6 months to find the right person for the art style. Because I wanted something very ambitious in terms of visuals. I wanted to get to the idea of, a storybook for children. Uh, because I, as a parent, when I go and get my children some stuff, either it's the stuff that they've told me I want that. So then we discuss, I might think that it's not appropriate or something, or it's something that I see and I find beautiful, and I want to share my love for that beauty and that with my children, and so I buy that. So parents like to buy beautiful things for their children, and I want that. I knew I was never gonna make a game that sells itself to children, but it had to sell itself to parents. So as a parent, you have to see it and say, "Oh, I'd like my child to discover that kind of universe." So that took a long time. I actually worked with 3 different artists before I found the right one, and then the scenario was rewritten 4 to 5 times for the first episode, and yeah, about the same for the second. And as it turns out, telling a story is very laborious as well. So it's not even a question of programming or art or whatever. It's how do we tell a great story that is compelling both to adults and children, writing the dialogues, and then also voicing, because everything is fully voice acted. So I had to do the voice casting and find the right actors and go into the studios, record the voices and include them in the thing, and then do that a second time because it's actually dubbed also in French, take care of all the localization and all of that. And yeah, it's about 2 years work for each episode.
And how many episodes do you plan, i.e., games, to this series to be?
Yeah, so initially the idea was to have 4. Um, and the initial plan was to actually have all 4 episodes in the same game, and that you'd have them as like DLCs or things like that. But that was with the idea that we could get one game in 3 to 6 months. And of course, that's not the case. So when we got to the point where we could write the second, we decided that we were going to make it a whole new game um, because first of all, on a technical level, we did a lot of mistakes that we didn't want to have to kind of keep going in the. So we redid the entire code base based on the things we've learned and the mistakes we've made. And the idea was to have those 4 episodes: anger, fear, sadness, and joy. And that the narrative arc, was gonna be a journey within grief. There's several steps in grief that have been like described by different psychologists, but we wanted to kind of follow that arc, but not grief of death. In the first episode, Charlie gets home and Charlie's dog Baya does not want to play, and it's kind of the end of a friendship, a change in their relationship, and that was going to be like the pivotal moment that created the start of this narrative arc. And of course, there was going to be 4 different episodes, and it was only going to be at the end of the 4th episode that Charlie finishes this journey, and that you have your true ending. But when we made the first episode, it was a very open-ended. It was a cliffhanger. But that meant that the story was not finished, and people were feeling that this game is not finished, and we knew that we were going to take another 2 years to make the next episode, so we could not get the children waiting for another 2 years to get closure on the story. So after releasing the first game and getting those feedbacks, and that's one of the reasons why it was actually, in my opinion, still a good call to release on Steam on this much more difficult market, was to actually discover that, okay, no, we need to actually have a true ending to this first episode, and the next episode being a new story completely that is after the first one, but that does not require you to play the first episode to enjoy. And so we changed the ending of the game after releasing the game, and for the better, I think. A little bit like Super Giant.
And so does that mean the entire series has been reworked?
Well, I didn't write the whole series right from the get-go, right? I knew the first episode was going to be about anger, the second was going to be about fear, third was going to be about sadness, and fourth was going to be about joy. But I did not have a set. I had the main narrative arc, but the story within those different episodes was not defined yet. I mean, we had to kind of make a framework of how it was going to work, because when you go and try and answer grant calls, they want to know where you're heading, which is never the case when you make games. But you have to kind of at least have a main idea. So there are some things that we had to fundamentally change in the way we approach this, but I still wanted to keep that idea of having one episode for each emotion. And now because the first two games are not working, and I had to get rid of the team, it's of course still a big question whether or not there will ever be another sequel. But the scenario for the third one is already written. The dialogues are not there, but the V1, the first version of the scenario, which I'm pretty happy with already, is somewhere. And maybe if I don't make it a game, I might make it a book. I don't know. That's for the future to see.
That's certainly, how do I put this, concerning. I suppose it's worth asking, what is that hinged upon?
Well, if for some reason there's a sudden interest in the games, and there's an influx of money that makes it possible to put back a team together, and because if there is at some point a traction that starts existing around the IP and around the universe, then yeah, I absolutely want to keep working on it. But here we're talking about, there's about 1,000 people who've played the game, so that's not enough to contemplate the idea of making a third one, especially when you consider that it's around a 350,000 euros budget to make one.
I suppose, have you looked at expanding the IP in different directions?
Yeah. So there's two main directions that the IP could expand to. There's books, and there's videos. So I've met with the book publishing sector. I've been to a few book publishing conventions. So I went to the Bologna Children Book Fair. I went to Frankfurt Buchmesse, which is those are the two big book fairs in Europe. And it was interesting to discover that world, which is completely different, but kind of faces the same kinds of struggles that we face in the gaming industry. But they are still seeing us as kind of an enemy. So they're very worried about the kind of interactions that we can have between video games and books, and they don't understand how it works. So it's very difficult to. What they're interested in is licensing their IP and letting you make a game with it, but they're not very interested in like taking an existing IP that's on a game that has not found a success and trying to make it find success in the book world. That is like very difficult, and understandably so. I mean, it makes sense, right? And then I met also during those book fairs, of course, because there's all those questions of IP rights. There's also actors of the movie world, and so I met with Nickelodeon, for example. And I pitched the game. The story, the universe, they kind of liked it. They sent me a follow-up mail. We exchanged a bit, but that didn't go much further than that. So yeah, that's currently it's I have not yet really found a way to feel a way that makes me feel that it could work. Unless I made an animation movie myself, but that's once again, it's going to be my own risk to take, and yeah, I've failed too much right now to kind of take more risks to fail more, and I need to find like some other avenues for this.
Hmm. I mean, that's disheartening. I think is the word for
Yeah,
it. And yeah, I wish I could say that is a story that it was rare on these shores, but that kind of speaks to an overall problem going on in the video game industry that's come up um, time and again. And it's not just like your particular niche or sector, but just there are too many games. No, there are so many games out there that um, it's just very hard for unprovens to get the oxygen to survive.
I think there's actually several different things at play. There's the number of games that is indeed increasing. About 25% per year more games are released on Steam, give or take. Uh, but when I've heard some different opinions on that question, and a lot of people are saying yes, but there's also more games because there's more schools, and there's a lot more games that are made by students that they are required to release a game by their school on different platforms, and so that creates a that creates more games on the market, but there are not really games with a commercial intent. I can understand that point of view, I guess, but it is clear that there is a lot more games released per day. I think last 2025 was 2,000 games, 20,000 games on Steam.
Yes.
It was about 50 per day, something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a lot. But another problem is that games are getting more and more. Uh, the models of games is more and more user acquisition, and so you acquire those users, and then you aim for as much retention as you can. So people play more. They have more games that they can play, but they're also naturally, because of the way the business is evolving and because of the way games are made, they're not playing as many games per person because you'd play one game. I mean, when I was a kid, I played many games, but I don't think I played any game more than maybe 20 hours or something, you know. Here, people when one game is like a 20 hours experience, people say, "Oh, it was a bit short," you know. I remember like Final Fantasy VIII, that was like 70 hours. It was amazing, crazy. Now you can play games for thousands of hours and still keep playing them. And so that, in my opinion, is one of the problems we're facing, as well, in terms of competition, is how do I get people to get away from the game they're playing to play my game?
I mean, in this specific case, the answer you would think would be you're skewing young.
Yeah,
But, you know, okay, what's your competition in that field? Well, the likes of Minecraft and Roblox.
yeah,
Those are the things that my nephews and niece play.
yeah.
And those are very much forever games.
Yeah, there's also Animal Crossing. Those are like the three big nemesis. I mean, I love those games. I certainly love Minecraft and Animal Crossing. I can't say I've really delved much into Roblox. I've looked at it like some kind of a strange beast that I kind of fail to understand properly. But yeah,
Sounds like the
it's
appropriate way to interact with it to me, but I'm biased.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, like we're getting old. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 47.
We
So,
are 60 years old.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, however, that's one of the things that I was kind of hoping, is that um, those games, Roblox and Minecraft, are actually more for the 10 years old and up, and not yet for like I'm really aiming at younger children than that. And so my kind of objective and hope was that I would be the children's first real game, you know.
Mhm.
The very first game the very first real game that I played, you know.
Kind of like for a lot of
Besides,
kids in our generation, it was like humongous entertainment games.
yes, yes. And I mean, a lot of people have compared Asphalia to the humongous entertainment series, Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, and those kinds of things. Or in the French-speaking community, people compare it more with Adibou, which is a Ubisoft franchise, but that was very successful. It was on every computer. That was the thing that the kids would get back from school and play a little bit of Adibou, which was kind of an educational game. Um, yeah, but those or Carmen San Diego, those kinds of things, you know. And I was kind of hoping to get back to that, but yeah, it didn't work out.
Mm.
I mean, there's the very distinct possibility that, there is no market for this kind of game anymore, just
Yeah,
in general.
a friend of mine who's worked in the video game industry for years and has worked on kind of all different ends, and he's worked like as a scout for publishers, as a sourcing director, those kinds of things. So he has a good eye on the market. He told me that I you're probably 5 years too early for this kind of product. We should be getting back to this, but now is not going to be the right time. And yeah, that's I cannot say that it was wrong because the results are in his favor.
So, how many people are left at Funtomata now? Is it just
Just
you?
me. Yeah, it's just me. Yeah.
Like,
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find some freelance work and see, if I can get some money in the bank, while still doing some like doing the porting on iOS, for example, adding I'd probably have to add an in-app purchase. So when you get at a certain point in the game, you have to pay to get the rest. No, for Asphalia, the Cranky Volcano. I'm contemplating it. I'm contemplating keeping it free. So making the first game completely free to get people interested, to get families on board, to get children on board and wanting that second episode, because I know that when children have played the first episode, they want to play the second. And then having more of a classical, like, okay, it's like a freemium kind of experience. So you play the first 20 minutes of the game, and then you have to pay to play further. But yeah, I still have to work on implementing that and putting it together, and hopefully getting it to work a little bit. But I don't have the budget to really make a big marketing push, the likes of which you usually need on mobile. So that's one of the difficult things.
I mean, the other alternative on iOS would be to see if you can get slotted into Apple Arcade, and
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
that's always nice to think about.
Yeah.
But I tried to get on Google. But the way it works is you got a form, you fill it in, and then if they don't answer, they might answer at some point. You don't know. However, there's another possibility, which
Mhm.
is that there is actually there's a platform that is currently developing in Africa and that is trying to bring gaming to Africa. And I've gotten in touch with them, and there might be a possibility that we get featured on their platform. And because it's a brand new thing, they're only going to take a very limited amount of games, and but they want to fill different slots for children, slots for adults, slots for teenagers. And so if I can get there, it could be interesting. Now it's a much smaller market than the American market or the European market, definitely. But it's a market that is only starting to really exist, because one of the reasons is their paying habits in Africa are very different than the ones we have in in Europe or in the US, or they don't pay with cards, they pay with their phones. So they don't use like Apple Pay, they pay with their phone subscription. And so they put money on their phone operator subscription, and they use that to pay. And platforms like Steam and the App Store and those kinds of things, they cannot work with that system. So there is a structural problem to get gaming to Africa. And that platform wants to change this. But yeah, it's it's still like very, very new.
Well, and also going to a new market such as Africa, you don't have people looking for their old, like, sequels for their old favorites.
Yeah,
You'd be able to basically be someone's first generation game.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
But I mean, it's all those are all the domains of ideas and possibilities. There's always possibilities. I mean, you can always think of, I could try this, I could try that. But of course, it's always a certain amount of work to get there, and you cannot chase all the ideas at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
hmm. Well, I suppose, best of luck to
thank you.
those avenues, because I suppose that's all that can be done right now,
Yeah.
given that the games have unfortunately not found a place in the market so far.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean I didn't think it was gonna work like super well, but I had some hopes that it could work at least enough that I could sustain some salaries or those kinds of things. But for example, on the Nintendo Switch, we released 2 games in October, and we sold 150 units. So that's like, yeah, not much, much less than I was hoping for. Especially given that it was supposed to be a much better platform than Steam for this kind of game.
There isn't a major platform out there that isn't completely saturated with
Yeah,
games.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, I was literally trying to look for something on the eShop a few days ago, and it's packed. Unless you know what you're looking for and can search it, you might not find it on any kind of just like regular discovery option
yeah.
because there's
No,
just
it's.
so many games.
I have not yet tried the extremely aggressive discount on Switch.
Hmm.
Um, Discounts work well on Steam,
Yeah,
past
because
50%. Like when
when you
you
have
when
a
you
discount below 20 or greater than 20%, if somebody has it in their wish list, they will get an email.
yeah,
And they'll
that I
also
know.
try and push you a little higher up on the algorithmic searches for things in that topic.
Yeah, but generally speaking, 20 when I do 20% discounts, there is like a very minor blip on the sales track. When I do 50, it's different. There's more.
Right.
Also, so initially both games were premium. So Asphalia, the Cranky Volcano, and Asphalia Panic at the Mansion. But I decided to try what happens if I make the first game free, completely free.
Ah,
So
yes,
I
the
had to
first
reach out to
pay
Steam.
free
Yeah,
model.
but it wasn't the case initially. But so I had to ask Steam because you can't always they won't always allow you to make your game free. You kind of have to give some arguments about it. And also you need to kind of also give the players who have paid some form of compensation. So
Right.
I added a soundtrack to the game, and then the people who already owned the game then had the soundtrack for free. Essentially, that. There was not much else I could do because it's not a game that you can add some extra content to and say, hey, you get that extra little familiar or whatever. But yeah, people were receptive to it, and now I actually sell continuously copies of the second game. Whereas before I made the first game free, I would only sell games. I would only sell during discount periods. I would like have zero sales, and then during discounts I would sell. Now it's more of a constant stream. And what's funny also is that apparently the game appeals mostly in Russia and in China. That's where we get the most comments and reviews from the game,
Is it
which is
localized in
interesting.
those regions, or are they playing?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. We don't have localized audio, but we have localized like those speech bubbles that you see
Yeah.
there. So and so it's in English, but and we've localized in Russian, Brazilian, Spanish, German, French, English, uh, Chinese, Taiwanese, and Japanese.
Mm.
And I was hoping to that could work on the Brazilian market because they actually are a pretty big market, but they also the children play a lot. So I was hoping that it would kind of work there, but yeah, as it turns out, it didn't.
Sorry to pop in, but I have to head out to get to my work. But
That's
good
fine.
luck with your games, Jean-Gobert.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
I think we're about done here, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have to drop, so
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you for the interview.
Mhm.
Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. You know, like I said, it's unfortunate, but maybe the future will bring better tidings.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm really happy for that journey and grateful for all the things I've learned, the people I've met, and also for having made the games that I wanted to make because not everyone gets to the end of it, and also people who play the game, they really like it. So we've done a lot of things right, and I'm really proud of what we've done right. Unfortunately, the marketing part was not one of those things that we did right, but yeah, it is what it is. And I mean, I'm past the grief here. Of course, I'm not like super happy about this. I mean, I had to lay off everyone here on in the beginning of January, so it's still fresh. But it was done in a very respectful way from all the parties involved. There's no hard feelings. There's only a tingle in the hearts of all the people on the team, but we all understand why it had to be done that way and why it couldn't go on. And yeah, I'm very grateful to have worked with people of such quality that were looking at the same direction as me and trusted me with that vision, even though it did not, play out the way they'd hoped. But yeah, we're all bigger now.
Mm.
So I suppose we're doing our part here today. And on that note, the games are Asphalia, the Cranky Volcano, and Asphalia, Panic at the Mansion. Asphalia, the Cranky Volcano is free to play on Steam. And Panic at the Mansion is retailing for $8, but has a demo if you wish to try that one. So be sure to go and do a dalliance with either one of these games if you have children today. So, yeah, that'll about do it for another installment of Fragments of Silicon, the Daylight interviews.
Thank you, Adam.
No problem. No problem. As always, be sure to tune in next time for the Sunday reviews. And until then, I shall wish you good gaming.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was really nice.